Zaffa presents Infamous by Lex Croucher. Read by Ellie Kendrick. Chapter 1. When the bell rang for supper up at the house, Eddie and Rose were practicing kissing. "Your mouth is too slack," Eddie said, slightly muffled against Rose's lips. "What?" said Rose, pulling away, her face very flushed, despite the fact that they were sitting in a rather half-hearted treehouse on the first chilly evening of a London September. "Your mouth is just sitting there a bit wet, sort of akin to a mollusk. I don't mean to dictate, but as you were the one who wanted to get in the practice, I thought you ought to know." "Oh," said Rose. She had one hand on Eddie's shoulder, and her fingers tightened on it, as if she were reluctant to let go. "Sorry." "Put your hand on the back of my neck again," Eddie instructed, pleased to be in charge of the operation, where she felt she belonged. "Yes, like that. It was nice before when you were really digging your nails in." "You're so odd," said Rose, but her mouth was already very close to Eddie's, which softened her words somewhat. Her fingers were tentatively exploring the hair at the nape of Eddie's neck, and it eased the transition from talking to kissing. Eddie leaned in first and felt Rose's lips part at once. Whatever deficiencies Eddie may have noticed during their previous attempt had already been vastly improved upon, because she found herself relaxing into this kiss, with a warmth not unlike the burn of purloined whiskey spreading slowly through her chest. "Well, that's more like it. I think it's working this time," Eddie said, muffled. "You should try with your tongue, just to see if you're any good at it." Her friend sighed as if she were going to protest, but after a few seconds, Eddie felt Rose's tongue ghost hesitantly against her bottom lip, her eyelashes fluttering against Eddie's cheek like moth's wings against the glass of a lamp. They had been sitting apart, leaning across the space between them, but it suddenly occurred to Eddie that it might make more sense, logistically speaking, to press her body closer to Rose's. So she did. That certainly improved matters even more. She could feel the swell of Rose's chest pressing into hers now, smell the faint scent of lilac in her hair. It all seemed to be going swimmingly until Rose shifted against her and let slip a breathy, half-restrained gasp into her mouth. Eddie broke away and stared at her. "What the hell was that?" "The what? What was what? I don't know," Rose said, flushed and red-lipped and looking mortally embarrassed. "Well, I suppose it's a good job we're practicing. When it comes to the real thing, you might want to keep that sort of thing in check. Oh, hang on." Eddie cocked her head to listen as the bell rang out, interrupting the velveteen quiet. "That's supper." The bell was ringing quite insistently already, with the sort of urgency that indicated an imminent fire or that the French might be coming. Eddie disentangled herself from Rose, got to her feet, and held out a hand. Rose hesitated, looking dazed, and then took it and allowed herself to be hauled upright. There was the matter of the lantern to be dealt with, but Eddie had recently innovated a particularly ingenious method of scaling the ladder with it swinging festively from her mouth. Rose, who seemed very concerned with telling Eddie which materials were and were not flammable, did not approve. Once they had alighted safely on the ground, it was just a quick sprint across the lawn to reach the house, skirts flying up behind them as they cast long, ungainly shadows in the lamplight. All 4 floors of the narrow house were lit up from within, the glow spilling out onto the patio as Eddie reached the back door and flung it open. A few steps into the hallway, a small girl with her dark hair gathered up on top of her head so that she resembled a very angry pineapple was focusing too determinedly on her task to notice that they had entered. "You can stop ringing the bell now, Trix," Eddie said, ruffling her youngest sister's alarming hair as she walked past her in the direction of the dining room. "Father said I'm doing a
Sample complete. Ready to continue?